quite a pain getting in here. I don't know if I can. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Joy. Pretty simple with the tape, but these we'll have to do everything here. But a little overspray on here. I haven't sanded in here, so it's not too bad. But we might be able to just bag up some plastic and stick in here, and that's probably gonna be good enough for that. Taping is one of those jobs, you know, that can be fun as long as you're not in a big hurry. So, you know, it's really easy if a guy just paints it. But then you got to do all that sanding again, so I'm going to tape it off. But when I tape it right along the edge. That's really easy to sand and feather that out for when I do the this part. So do a little thinking when you're taping up things. Well, she's all done. Next morning, she's all set up and dried. So the whole idea on this build was to have the underneath all painted nice. You know, sometimes, you know, you can spray on the rubberized coating, but this is going to make it look a lot more original. And she looks really, really good. I like it. All right, on to the next step. So some of the caulking is, you know, it's on the top lip here. I'm using one of these blue rags. And, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time to work it off, but it does come off. And try not to use just a regular paper towel, because, you know, you soften up. If you're working on something and you soften up, and you're just going to get lint on there. This one doesn't lint up as bad. Yeah, it comes off. Just takes a little bit of rubbing. You can see it's coming off. So this is going to take a little bit of time, and I think I'm just going to go get some gloves so that my hands don't dry out more. That's looking good there. And I'm just going to keep on going here, clean this up. There's spots here, you know, where it's a little bit dirty. You just wipe that off. You're good to go. So what I'm doing here is, when you're all said and done, when you pull your tape off, you get a bit of a harsh line. It's just it's just square line. You know, it's not smoothed out or anything like that. So I just, you know, you can manipulate this stuff when it's said and dry. And you just work it until it's all feathered out. Got a little spot here where it's a little over. Keep moving your rag. And you just keep going until you're really happy with it. And then what I usually do on the last one, I'll start and I'll just go one way. And that seems to eliminate any issues with lint. You just have to kind of play around with this stuff, you know. You'll figure it out. But it's really nice to be able to, you know, to make your seams look really, really good. I was watching a video on how they do it with new cars, and they got a gun and it just goes whoosh. Well, not for these particular ones, but for inside doors and stuff. You know, where do I get one of those? I'm just using just regular old paint thinner, you know, nothing fancy. You don't want to be using lacquer thinner or anything like that. You'll be repriming. Well, just a little ways to go. So I made an executive decision. I said I was going to paint the roof first, but then you know, like this doesn't go all the way across. I'll have a line here, and you know, I'd like to paint this whole piece. So what I've decided, the only reason, one of the reasons I wanted to do that is because it's on the rotisserie, and you know, I can tip this back, spray that, tip it back, and it makes it so much easier. So what I've decided is that I'm going to go through the effort of putting it back on the rotisserie, because we have to put it on the cart so that I can get the inside done. I think that little extra step is going to just make it a little bit more seamless and a little easier to do. So that is my decision. So we'll get all this plastic off here and get this thing on the cart so we can start working on the floor. I'm going to take advantage of the rotisserie today. I got to let the paint dry another day before I put it back on the cart. So what I'm going to do is start seam sealing down in here. Might as well. We'll tape everything off so that we're not getting seam sealer everywhere. Like I said, on these Fords, there's a lot of seam sealing that has to be done. A little tough getting in here, but it's alright. A lot easier than working above your head. Now of course this is going to have to get done in a couple passes. There's just no way in the world you can do this in one. So it'll shrink. See what that's going to look like when I flatten her out here. Okay. And I want to do the whole thing. And we are going to do this again tomorrow. So we'll just get her looking really good and then one more coat. Take off that tape. Here. It's looking pretty good. On day 2 of doing the caulking, you know, this is where you really have to be patient. You just, you know, 90% of the things that you do with caulking, you know, on some of these old vehicles, you got to do it in 2 steps, you know, at least 2 days, because it shrinks quite a bit. And, you know, this is kind of where you have to be an artist, because it's not that easy to do, but if you just kind of take your time, it's not too bad. Now, if I did use tape and was just, you know, use my finger and just go, and go everywhere. I really like this idea of using a spatula. It is amazing how you do it right, you can't even see it. Yeah, that looks really good, but you can see that it's just a little bit more over that way, I think. Then what I'm going to do is I will come in after this sets up a little bit and smooth it out a little bit with my finger. Some thinner. You won't even know. You won't even know. A little thinner on my finger, and I'm just going to smooth this out. I can mold it just like clay. Well, not quite like that, but you know what I'm saying. Just make this look as beautiful as you want. Now anything that's, you know, on the edge, you know, this residual stuff, I'm going to come in after when it is completely set and dry, and I'll just wipe that off with a towel. It's got a little bit thinner on it. That is going to be perfect. Just finishing up the last of the caulking. Should look after everything today. I could go on forever, but we got lots to sand yet on the floor. So after this, then what I want to do is switch out the rotisserie for the cart, and then that way I can start working on the interior. All right, got her on the cart. That wasn't too bad of a job. So it's time to prep this. So here's the plan. What we're gonna do is this area right here, up to this line here, I'm going to put some undercoat, some rubberized undercoat, and then we'll paint over top of that. Everything else is gonna be just paint. So it's just gonna be this part. So I'm gonna sand this with 220, and then I'll sand this with, I got some 280, I'm gonna sand this and the rest of this. 320 in here, should work good. I've got everything else all done up here while it was on the rotisserie. So we've got quite a bit of prep to do in here, but it's coming good. It won't take that long. Today what I wanna do is I wanna get around the seam so I can get some seam sealer in there, because that always takes a couple days to set up. And of course we need a couple coats because that'll shrink in there pretty good. So just better get at her. Go find some earmuff. Time to do some caulking. So I got, you know, most of the sanding done. I haven't done the dash yet, but it's getting near the end of the day and I want to get a coat of caulking on this because it's going to take a couple coats. I guess the right term would be application. Just like that. Should have done the other side first, but that's okay. Well, I can't avoid it much longer. I'm gonna have to sand the dash now. I was hoping I could talk my brother into doing it, but he's bailed, so now I gotta do it. But what we're gonna do here is just use the palm sander, and then you're just gonna have to, you know, all the little tight spots. Now you have to get in there with your piece of sandpaper, scuff cloth. You're gonna see this, so we gotta do a nice job. And hopefully, I'm gonna get through this without finding like a little dent or something. I'm just finishing up the caulking, and this is my last one. I try not to film too much of it because, man, I tell you, it's painful for me. I could just imagine what it's like for you. Second coat goes so much better than the first. That looks pretty good. So when I do the inside here, I'm going to tape along here, and then I'm going to do this when I do the outside. So anytime you have some caulking, if you run tape over top of that, and of course, you know, you're going to spray, there's going to be some, you know, thinners are going to penetrate the tape, and then it's not coming off. So I'm just going to take a little bit of primer. This is just some one step. And I'm going to prime the little areas that I'm going to tape, and then I'll just hit them with a scuff cloth. One down over here as well. We got quite a few, so I'm going to go around the truck, spray our spots, give it a couple of really good coats, and then our tape should stick. Well, we got a big task ahead of us today. We're going to tape this up. There's a lot of holes. You just gotta, you know, take your time. Make sure you get them all. You know, you do your best, but you can't get rid of all the overspray. But when you're spraying on the inside of the cab, there's a lot of overspray. You know, there's a lot of area that has to get covered, and you know, it's going to go everywhere. So we're going to try and tuck the tape or the paper underneath a little bit and just do our best. It'd be nice if we didn't have to, but that's just the way it goes. And it's not that tough of a job. Taping is one of those things where, you know, you just got to turn the mind off, and so for the most part, it's kind of fun. Well, I think I got all the holes. So now we gotta tape this up. Now the whole idea here is, like there's so much overspray when you're doing the inside of a cab. I want this completely open. So we're not gonna close this off or anything like that. I wanna leave it open. So I'm gonna tape it up. This first row of tape just makes life easier. You don't have to, but I like doing it this way. This plastic is just the best in the world. Just makes life so much better. Because you can paint this one side. If you use just regular plastic, you know, from the hardware store, and you paint it, it's just gonna flake off. And those little flakes will end up on your paint job. And then you're upset. Well, the taping's coming along. It's actually not that tough of a tape job. Plastic makes it so much easier. My blade's getting a little dull here. Well, that's alright. Just tear it. I'm kind of getting excited about painting the inside. That's a big step. And then we can prep the outside. I think the weather's going to hold up for us to a point where I can do some spraying on there. And then get something else in here. We got inner fenders, I think, are going to be the next thing that we're going to do. Once the cab's done, then you can start putting the truck back together. It's the big one. It's where all the wiring goes. And then our doors are done. We just have to sand them and paint them, so that's not that big of a deal. and maybe one really good day of sanding, and then we can hang the doors and get them ready for paint too. It's all coming together. Give her a quick wipe down, some wax and grease. I just don't like issues, so if this prevents anything from happening, I'm willing to do it. Time to throw some paint down. Now, I just put this little piece of plastic over top the dash. I'm going to be spraying the roof. I don't want any overspray to come down. It helps a little bit. But unfortunately, I'm not going to have the camera in here. I just can't get the angle. And there's going to be way too much overspray. So, it won't take me too long. And we'll catch up when I've got her all sprayed. I'm just doing the epoxy right now. The epoxy set up. It's been a couple hours now. And I'm just going to tape it off, and I'm going to undercoat, put a paintable rubberized undercoat on the floor area. I'm not going to do the back underneath the seat. And this will just give it that little extra, little bit of you know, support down the road, so that, you know, prevent anything we can do to prevent some rust. I'm all about it. Not going to get too crazy with taping everything up. Just tape all the way around. And if I get something on the dash somehow, I'll just wipe it off with some thinner. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But every time you think that this overspray just seems to go everywhere. I don't know. But that's alright. We'll get her. We'll let this set up. It's going to set up overnight. And then tomorrow, we'll throw some paint on. Well, we're just getting ready to throw down some paint. I'm just, you know, there's really not too much to prep up here. Everything's set. I really like this stage. Everything's clean, neat, and there's no dust. It's, you know, it goes for a good day. Even though painting the inside of a cab is not that much fun. But one of the benefits, you know, to priming the day before is it sets up, and I went around, felt it up, and if there's a little piece of dust, you know, just hit with some 600 or 1000 grit, and you know, that just helps you succeed in getting a really nice looking paint job. So, unfortunately, you know, I've got no room, and there's going to be way too much overspray, so I'll have to bring it back. But I'm still going to have fun while you guys are gone. See you in a bit. Well, it's red, and it looks really good. Dash, roof. I know it's hard to see. It's almost impossible with the camera, the lighting. Let's try this. My favorite part, taking the tape off. So we're gonna let this sit for a couple days because I gotta bolt the rotisserie back into it. But that'll give us some time to, you know, we still got a little sanding up on the front and get everything prepped up, and then we can put the rotisserie on, tape everything back up, paint the outside. We've already got a window guy lined up. He's gonna put the front window in. So that's set up for next week, so gotta get her done. Yeah, just looks so nice.